All right. With that in mind, again, I'm trying to show you how simple it is. All right. And also, we're going to write in interval notation. All right. The reason I want them on a number line is because it's training your brain to think about the number line so you can write them in interval notation. All right. So please, let's take a look. All right. So here, there are times when you have answers between two numbers. So this says B is greater than -1. So I want everybody to put an open circle at -1. All right. And we are greater than. So we're going in this direction. So I understand that, right? And we are also only using the numbers that are less than 3. So less than 3 would be a solid dot at 3 going to the left. All right. So you're supposed to be able to think about it this way. What numbers are greater than -1 and less than or equal to 3? Everything between those two numbers. All right, I'm going to say that again. All right, come on now. You can't daydream because if you look down the page, it's getting harder and harder and harder and harder as we go down. These are easy. So I need everybody to think about that. If I said, what are the numbers greater than -1 and less than 3? You would say everything between -1 and 3. Now, I'm not expecting you to be able to say, well, that's obvious. I'm expecting you to look at the graph now and say that's what the graph is saying. All right. The and statements will always run towards each other. All right. Will always run towards each other. All right. Now, if I wanted to write that in interval notation, I would simply write -1 and 3, and there would be a bracket at what? 3. The reason why there's a bracket at 3 is because 3 is equal to. That is correct. That's how simple that is. All right. So this is one way of writing this statement. All right. Over here. All right. This is simply saying that Q is between what two numbers? Yeah. Now, again, I'm going to have to argue with this worksheet a little bit. Is normally I tell you we must write the numbers from what? Left to right or small to large. So I really would like for you to just rewrite this as -5 less than or equal to Q less than or equal to 2. So it doesn't really change much. All right. But that means Q is between -2, I mean between -5 and 2. So we put a solid dot at -5, solid dot at 2, and it's everything in between. This is an and statement. All right. So interval notation would be a bracket at -5 and a bracket at 2. Just like that. Yes. So now that's a good question, kiddo. Watch me. Read it from Q's perspective here. Q is what? Less than or equal to 2. Do you agree with that? Now, if you read the other direction, though, watch me. What does this actually say? That's right. -5 is less than or equal to Q. So that means Q is greater than or equal to -5. You hear me?
So it's
You see what I'm saying, right? So again, listen to me. I understand the complications there. That's why I just have learned it, that this literally just means Q is between what? Q is between -5 and 2. That's what I want you to mean. That's why I want you to think about it when you see it. You with me?
was it B in between -1 and 3?
That is correct. Very good. It's just written in a different form.
Oh,
That's okay. What? Bracket is if there's an equal to. Here, there's an equal to right there. Here, there's an equal to. Therefore, there's a bracket. It's a parentheses. You hear me? All right, let's try number 4. All right, so help me out with number 4. All right, this is simply saying that what? But instead of saying that, I would like for you to say P is what? Between what two numbers? P is between -2 and 4. So we're going to pick -2 and we're going to pick 4, and it's everything in between. That's all that means. P is between -2 and 4. Anybody have an issue with that? And then let's write it as interval notation. Bracket -2, 4, parentheses. There we have it. Everybody good with that? Anybody? All right. Now here we just have to write it. So now this is what I'm saying. This to me doesn't make as much sense. I want the variable first. So if I write the variable first, that's going to say D is what? Greater than -3. So make yourself a note on that. If you switch them around, you have to switch the inequality sign as well. So that means D is greater than -3. All right, so graph greater than -3. And then you graph D is less than 2. So everybody do that. So that means D is between what two numbers? -3 and 2. So now we just write -3, 2. That's called interval notation. If you know that, you're in really good shape. All right. Anybody have any questions so far? Anybody? All right. Uh-oh, one more. P is between what? -1 and 3. So just to be sure, -1, here's 3, everything in between. So interval notation, it would just be what? 2 brackets, right? -1, 3, bracket. Anybody have an issue with that? All right, here we go. All right, let's knock out the next part. All right, now here's the new topic. Do we agree we're always trying to isolate the variable, correct? Now, come on, eyes up for me. So we have W plus 3, right? So how do I get rid of +3? Right, guys, look at me. -3, -3, and -3 over here also. All right, it's like 2 different problems. Now, when you do that, we say what? W is between what? 1 and 2. Now, do we agree? I don't really feel like graphing. Interval notation is much better. All right, so we're going to write it in interval notation. Now, I always tell kids, use the number line to help you with interval notation if you need it. But I don't need it anymore because you understand it. So W is between 1 and 2. So we put a what? Parentheses and then a what? 1, 2 with a what? Bracket. Now your job is to speak up. Go ahead, Leah.
Why does always be in between?
Yes, for and statements, you are correct. Good observation. All right. All right, let's see if we can do number 8. What am I doing on number 8? Dividing by 3. Come on, it's not that hard, but do it yourself. So P is between what two numbers? 1 and what? 7. So how do I write that? Bracket 1, 7, parentheses. Come on, that's just not that hard. All right, let's knock out the next one. Okay, for number 9, what do you think I have to do first? Subtract what? Subtract 6. So on the left, it would be -10 less than 2x less than or equal to. Anybody have any problem with that so far? And now what? Divide by 2. So I have what? -5. And 0 divided by 2 is still what? Come on, guys. Does everybody agree? Come on, that's not that hard. So that means your answers are only between what? -5 and 0. So we have -5, comma, 0 with a bracket. Everybody with me? All right, here we go. Number 10. Now these are just done individually. So what do I do for the first one? Add 1. So y is what? Less than or equal to 3. And what do we have next? Greater than or equal to, what is that? I think it's -1, right? Now, your brain is supposed to look at that and say, okay, if I'm less than 3 and greater than -1, I want you to be able to say, what does that mean? If I'm less than 3 and greater than -1, what does that mean? That's the question. All right. If you don't know what that means, that's why they give you a number line. All right. I would like everyone to say that just means what's true about y. Palmer, do you know? Wow. You see what happens? All right. Exactly. Now it's between -1 and 3. So now I need the parentheses or the brackets. What am I doing here? Are both brackets? Yes, they are both brackets. All right, no one said anything. What? I don't know what you mean. I'm confused. So it doesn't matter what order we're in. Is that what you're saying? This says y is greater than -1. This says y is less than 3. It doesn't matter what order I'm doing it. If I say y is less than 3 and greater than -1, it's not going to change the fact if I say the other way, right? You understand what I'm saying now, right? All right. And like I said, if you ever have trouble, that's what the number line is for. All right. You should just graph them and you can see it's everything in between. All right. Because we're doing great. Let's keep going. All right. Let's look at number 11. All right. If I'm looking at number 11, add 2. What do I get? No, I don't. I get what? N is greater than or equal to. Thank you. We need to say it correctly. And what? N is less than 2. Now, as we do these, you're supposed to be able to say, okay, if I'm greater than -1 and less than 2, that means I'm what? I'm everything what? In between what? -1 and 2. So I write -1, 2, and then bracket at -1, parentheses at 2. All right, believe it or not, that's kind of complicated. All right, I got 12 to go, correct? All right, so come on, everybody help me with 12. All right, what do I have to do first? -12. All right, so if I subtract 12, what do I get? -8, less than or equal to 4D, less than 20. Uh-oh, what's the matter?
+32.
I don't know what you mean. Why is, oh, it doesn't have to be plus. It could have just been 32. You know what I'm saying? That's a good observation, Peter. I'm sorry. You're right. I typo. Doesn't have to be positive 32. All right, final step. Uh-oh, Leah.
Wait, why did you pick 12 to?
Because I'm trying to isolate the variable, kiddo. Think about what I'm saying. I'm trying to isolate the variable. So that means I'm trying to get. No, because the 4 is attached to the D as multiplication. Okay, I see. Look, this is what you're highlighting, this right there. You're trying to isolate the D from there. Do you hear me? Does that make sense? Right. The 4 and the 32 are already by themselves. All right. You're subtracting 12. Now, after you subtract 12, we're going to do what? Divide by 4. We're dividing by 4. So if I divide by 4, that's going to give me what? -2 is less than or equal to less than. So that just means D is between what? There we have it, guys. Here's a -2. Here's a 5, parentheses. All right. Lee, is that good? All right. So that is, in fact, the and statement. All right. That's called a conjunction, which I won't talk to you about. All right. Now, after the and comes the what? The or. All right. And the or statement is considered a disjunction. All right. Now, look at the difference. If I say B is greater than 2, so over here we're graphing B is greater than 2. And then it says B is less than -3. Why is this not an and statement? Right. Can a number be greater than 2 and less than -3? That's not possible for a number to be greater than 2 and less than -3. So that's why this is an or statement. All right. Now, a little bit harder for interval notation. What number is to the left, all the way to the left? It's what? And what's all the way to the right? All right, so here's how you're going to write this interval notation. You always read numbers from what? Left to right. So I'm going -infinity all the way to what number? No, all the way to -3. That is correct. So I'm going from -infinity to -3. Then this is called union symbol. All right. That means together with. All right. All the numbers from what? 2 to infinity. That's what the interval notation would be for that. Please don't look at that and say, man, that's hard. Come on, that's just reading a number line. The union is the only thing that you may not understand. Union just means all of this together. All of this together. So the answer is from -infinity to -3, union 2 to infinity. Evan, good for you. What?
Would you have a bracket as a equal?
Oh, thank you so much, sir. You get the bonus point for the day. All right, he's correct. I didn't even see that. That is -3 is a bracket. Good job, buddy. -3 is the bracket. So make sure you put the bracket right there. All right, happy with that. Okay, let's look over here. Now, again, does everybody agree? I need everybody to circle this. We don't write the letter second. We need to write it what? First. So it's going to be Q is what? Less than or equal to what? 3. I'm not a fan of this. All right. Yeah, so here, listen, guys. You're about to miss an important lesson, man. You better be careful. All right. So here, everybody put a star by this one. I should, Q is less than -3. Let me see if I did that on any of the others. Y is less than -4, greater than 0. Less than 2. It's less than 8. Okay. Listen to me, guys. I want to change this up. All right. I don't want it to be this tricky, and I just overlooked that. All right. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to say, Q is greater than or equal to 3. I'm really sorry. I don't want to make this confusing, but I have to. Right. So I want to rewrite this as Q is greater than or equal to 3. All right, do that. Q is greater than or equal to 3. Sorry, just rewrite that. All right, I need to fix this. All right. So here we go. If Q is greater than 3, so now we put a mark at 3 going which direction? To the right, and then less than 1. Put a mark and going to the left. Everybody agree with that? So the or statements are going to be going in the opposite directions. All right. So if I want to write an interval notation, we're going from where? Negative what? Negative infinity to what? 1. Union, then what? 3 to infinity. All right.
Bracket 3.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Shh, shh, shh. Stop. All right. Here we go. 15. Mark that on your figure. Y is less than or equal to negative 4. Less than or equal to negative 4. Greater than 0. All right, so what is my answer? I'm listening. To what? Good. Yeah, that's perfect.
Don't you need a bracket?
Yeah, of course. She forgot the brackets. Can't expect her to be right all the time, right? All right, thank you. All right, anybody have any questions with that? All right, let's try 16. So when I write 16, I need to rewrite this as what?
There's no eight on the
I know. I'm going to change it. What is that?
number.
P is greater than or equal to 4. All right. Now, and again, guys, I'm sorry. I need to double check this. Change that to less than 1. Just change that to 1. Again, I'm sorry. Sorry. All right. All right. So if you're greater than or equal to 4, we're going here. And if I'm less than 1, I'm going here. All right. So that means writing it in interval notation. What do we got? Go, Liv. Come on.
One,
Good.
parentheses.
Yes. Go.
Bracket, 4, 1, infinity.
Yep. Easy as that. All right. Everybody's good with 16. Anybody have any questions? is greater than -3, less than 2. All right, just put a X on 17. I'm gonna greater than 2. And you can put an X on 18. All right, here we go. All right, let's take a quick look at this now for 19. All right, first thing I want to do is I want to look at this guy right here. All right, I want to rewrite that as what? 3W is less than, I'm sorry, greater than 3. Oh my goodness. Just put 3W is greater than 3. And so now when I divide this out, I get what? W is greater than 1. All right. Now I want to go ahead and solve the other one, and I'm just going to show you this. So now when I divide by 3, what do I get? W is greater than or equal to 3. Okay, so now just put a star by this and need your special attention. All right, need your special attention. All right. So W is greater than 1, so that'd be an open circle here, going to the right. And then W is greater than or equal to 3, so it would be a solid dot going this direction. Okay. Now, it says this is an OR statement. All right. So now, I was going to omit this, but you're smart enough to think about it. What numbers are greater than 1 or greater than or equal to 3? Now, think about this right here before. Listen to what I'm saying now. All right. So an OR statement, for those of you guys who know English, OR statement means one of them have to be what? True, or what? Both of them have to be what? True. All right. You need one of them to be true, or both of them could be true. All right. That's what they're talking about for an OR statement. So please look up here on the board. All right. And this will help you. What is happening is the number line has been split up into 3 different regions. All right. It's been split up into 3 different regions. All right. So keep in mind, look right up here on the board. All right. Now I'm going to highlight, I'm going to ask you about these numbers right here. Are any of those numbers greater than 1? Are any of those numbers greater than 3? So are there any numbers that satisfy that here? That would be no. Okay, now the numbers from 1 to 3, are those numbers greater than 1? Yes. All right. So believe it or not, that is part of the solution, because those numbers are greater than 1. However, are those numbers greater than 3? No, but it is a what? OR statement. So it only has to be true for one of them. All right. If it's true for both of them, is the number 4 greater than 1? Is the number 4 greater than 3? So is that part of the solution? Yes. So if they're going in the same direction, all right, if they're going for the same direction, it's all the numbers that satisfy either of them. So in this case, the answer is parentheses 1 to infinity. 1 to infinity. 1 to infinity. All right. Now, again, that was pretty tricky. All right. But again, if you understand the meaning of OR, all right, the meaning of OR is it can be true for one or the other or both. All right. So let's take a look now at number 20. All right. So everybody's taking a look at number 20. We're going to solve this equation right there. So I have to do what first? Subtract 1. So negative 3p is less than or equal to what? Negative 12. That is correct. Now I have to divide everything through by what? And when I divide by negative, what do I do to the sign? So it's p is greater than or equal to 4. All right. So now let's look on our number line. P is greater than or equal to 4. So I put a solid dot at 4 going to the right. And then it says P is what? Less than 2. So that's an open circle going to the left. All right. So how do I represent that? Someone be brave. Mr. Greet,
Is it negative?
you are good. To what?
So, times 15.
Yes, sir. Very nice.
Well, yeah, parentheses, and then it would be 4
Yes, sir.
to infinity.
Yes. And there would be a bracket at what?
At 4.
Right. And then the only thing is, just remember the little u for union.
Yeah.
All right. That was good. All right. Let's check out 21. Let's see how we're doing with 21. All right. Here we go. 21. What do I do to both sides? Subtract 4. Thank you. So I end up with 2x is less than or equal to what? And then what? So x is less than or equal to 1. All right, you have to be careful. So I'm going to put less than or equal to 1 right up here on my number line. Nothing. Now I'm doing this one right here. Is that what you're asking me? That's the second equation. So if I have x is greater than or equal to 2x minus 4, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So I have negative x is greater than or equal to negative 4. Everybody good with that? And then, of course, I'm going to divide by negative. So what happens to the inequality sign? It changes. So we're going to have x is what? Less than or equal to 4. All right, put a star by this one. This one's harder because they're going in the same direction. All right. Come on now, I need your attention. So are these numbers good or bad right here? They're good because those are the numbers less than 1. Are these numbers good? Yes, because those are the numbers that are less than what? Are these numbers over here any good? No, because they're not less than what? 4 or less than 1. Does everybody agree? So these are now what you consider is X this part out. All right. So what's true now? What would be the answer? Negative infinity to what? 4. Nice work. And 4, it would be a what? Brackets. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. All right, do me a favor. Let's look at 25 for a second. Everybody's looking at 25. Okay, let's write this inequality. What does this say right there? X is what? Less than or equal to? They're going in opposite direction. So we'd say, or what? What is this symbol over here? Greater than or equal to what? 3. There you have it. All right, that's it. That's your answer. All right. Now, if you want to write it in interval notation, which is what the directions are, we would just say, simply say that's what? From negative infinity to negative 3, union 3 to infinity. Everybody good with that? Yeah, the interval notation is what's really important. All right, 27. All right, let's look at 27. So how would I write that in interval notation? Would simply say what?
Between.
Between what?
0.
0 and 5. Except bracket on 0, parentheses on 5. Everybody agree with that? Over here, 26, we would say what? Good job, girl.
Bracket 3 following it.
Good work. Easy. All right, someone else, 28. -5, comma 0 with what? Parentheses. Come on, that's not that hard. Okay, here we go. All right, your homework now is really, please try 29 to 38. All right, that's your homework, 29 to 38. Just finish that up. All right, perfect, perfect. You're welcome. Good job today, guys. As usual,